Hi.
Hello.
I'm Daneisha.
I'm Ashley, and we're just here.
Oh, yeah. Hi, hello. Is this thing on?
Hopefully it's on.
I think it is. I think we're good.
Okay, cool.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
This is episode 3, take 2.
Yeah,
we
totally not recording it for the second time. No.
We had an
not
issue.
at all.
We didn't sound like men at all.
Got through the whole hour's worth of recording and totally didn't realize that we sounded like men and had to record.
Everything was perfect.
Perfect.
So today we're going to be talking about cursed objects and artifacts. I am really excited.
Me too.
Because I've honestly slept since we did film this, and I low-key forgot all of yours, and I'm
same.
not even fronting.
Oh, okay, cool.
I, like, legitimately do not remember.
That's good.
But I will start today. We do have our first listener story.
Yes.
This comes from my dad, and I'm going to be generally kind of vague just because this did happen kind of recently. I did not call him to re-verify the details just because I ran out of time. But he works at a tire shop. He's a mechanic, and he does vehicle assessments and stuff like that. And this one day, this lady came in, and before he and his manager could ever talk for the day or anything like that, she wanted her vehicle looked at. Okay, not a big deal. They do it all the time. He gets the keys, and my dad goes to look at the vehicle, but this lady keeps him and the manager separated the whole time. They do not get to interact the whole time that she's around. As he approaches the car, he gets this really icky feeling, like something feels off about this car. He said there's something of a smell, but it wasn't a bad smell, but just something was wrong. He gets in the vehicle. It's an SUV, and this is an older lady, mind you. He's 52, so like older than that in his opinion. Sorry, Dad. He's gonna call me and be like, "Excuse you."
What did you just say?
But he goes into the car, and there's so many trinkets and like little crystals and charms and things all over the windows, all over the doors, on every door.
Yeah.
And then he said the way he felt when he got into the car, he could only describe it as the Christine car, which is, if you don't know, a film and book from Stephen King where the car...
Still need to watch that because that does sound pretty interesting.
The car basically comes alive and kills people. He did make a note, and he said that the car wasn't speaking to him. He didn't hear it in his head or anything like that. It was just, that was the only way he could kind of describe the feeling he got. He did this assessment and got out as quickly as he could. When he handed the keys back to her, she left. His manager kept saying that he was completely glad she was gone.
Yeah.
He was freaked out. She kept speaking these weird things. She didn't make any sense. And this man just had genuine fear in his eyes. And Dad said that this is a military man who has been on tours, so he's obviously seen some things.
Yeah.
And like my dad has some history, so he's seen some things. So
Something
like
that typically won't be
they're not going to be spooked easily.
Very easily, yeah.
So for my dad to see this man having fear in his eyes, he was just kind of taken back for a second. And my dad already kind of had this feeling that she may have been a witch. And so in his head, he was like, okay, I'm going to say this. He's going to laugh at my face. But he goes, I think she was a witch. And the guy, like, there wasn't a, oh, you're joking, oh, you're pulling my chain, get out of here kind of look. Dad said that his face literally just changed from, like, freaked out, shocked to just dread. Like,
do you think that was because it kind of put into perspective what the guy was thinking, or was it, like, validating what the guy was thinking?
I think it was a validation, and the guy's probably...
like, oh, my gosh, you thought this, too.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't interact with the lady, but just from her car, you felt the same way.
Because, I mean, the location that they're in, and again, trying to be very vague here, but it's notorious for that kind of stuff. And so he later on went to talk to my grandmother, who is practicing. And he was like, was she looking for a coven? Like, is she trying to seek out some information? And they don't have answers. We may never know. Yeah. Unfortunately, when my dad went and asked the manager what things she was saying, he just kind of shut down and like blocked it out and just kept repeating that he hoped she never come back.
Yeah.
So we won't ever get the full story. But my grandmother...
definitely bad enough. He doesn't want to...
My grandmother assumes that the smell he was smelling was sage.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Either sage or like incense or something.
Yeah, and so my thought is that she may have done some kind of protection spell on her vehicle to ward off people that shouldn't be there. Or maybe there's something in there she's trying to protect. Because he said as you're approaching the car, you get this uneasy feeling. So like if somebody's trying to steal your car and they're feeling bad juju, they're obviously going to back off.
Yeah. For sure.
And so that's my thought. His thought was that she's trying to seek out a coven or something like that. We're not really sure, but considering, you know, we're talking about cursed objects and stuff like that.
Do you know what the lady ended up getting done to her car?
It was just an assessment. So she was literally just going, like, she just wanted it to be looked over to make sure everything is okay.
That's kind of weird. Because you would think if she was to do something for her car, like not like a spell, but put something on her car that's there for protection from people that aren't supposed to be in her car, you would think that it wouldn't have affected them the way that it did.
But also,
or
like,
unless she's just trying to pull some sort of, I don't
weird,
know.
yeah.
That's weird.
Well, and so, because my grandmother asked if this woman knew what my dad drove, and he was like, I don't even park in the parking lot of the shop, so, like, there's no way that she could link their vehicles. But also, like, because his manager kept saying she was speaking weird. So it's like, was she doing an incantation? Like, was she, like, what? Because Dad said speaking in tongues or incantations or something. We're not entirely sure. That's what that's what I want to know. Because, like, if she was doing some kind of spell casting, like, was she targeting my dad? Was she...
Has your dad seen her around anywhere else?
Not that he can recall.
That's interesting.
Not that he can recall.
Because I don't want to ask certain questions.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that we can talk about, like, later.
Yeah. I'll ask certain questions later. But no, that's weird.
Yeah,
that's
it's
weird.
a very, he said, like, it was bad enough for him to need to go talk to my grandmother and the manager about it. Like, usually he would just kind of brush that off and not really think twice about it. But it was to a point where he had to go and talk to somebody he knew.
Because it made him so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's strange. Hopefully that lady doesn't come back.
Yeah, I hope so, for the manager's sake. Because I know Dad can handle it, but I hope for the poor manager, because he did not seem comfortable at all.
Maybe. All right. So we've all pretty much heard of Sleepy Hollow, right?
Favorite movie.
Yes. So the place famously known for the Headless Horseman. Well, there's another haunting feature about the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery that some might or might not know about. It is the Bronze Lady statue. So a little history on her. The Bronze Lady is a statue that sits outside of a mausoleum that houses a Civil War general by the name of Samuel Thomas. Samuel made millions in coal and railroads after the war. When he died in 1903, his widow Anne had him laid to rest in said mausoleum at the top of the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. Anne didn't think a mausoleum would be enough to mark the memory of her millionaire late husband. She wanted more. She wanted a sculpture to adorn Samuel's grave, so she reached out to a top sculptor, Andrew O'Connor Jr., thus the Bronze Lady statue was born.
Okay.
I'm kind of curious as if she told him that she wanted, like, a woman's statue, or just gave all creative freedom, like, to him.
Allowed him to create whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I'm like, if I was getting something to memorialize like my husband, I would feel like I would want like a guy or something. Or
well, it could also be that maybe it was like a
guardian or something.
Well, a guardian, or like a rendition of her being with him or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. The statue was placed across from Samuel's mausoleum, so the statue was sitting there facing the mausoleum, and we can find pictures and pop them in here too, so that way you can see. The sculpture was huge. Her large hands cupped her left knee. Her right foot poked from beneath her gown. Her lips were pursed, her eyes were downcast, and she looked sad, mournful, and waiting. Upon it being presented to Anne, she was not at all happy about the statue, and she had actually asked the sculptor if he could make something a little bit more happier. It was just too mournful for her.
Which, like, I don't understand. Well, I have conflicting feelings about that because, like, one, you were commissioned, you commissioned this person. So I would think to give some kind of direction so that the person would know, okay, I'm mournful, happy. But also, like, as a sculptor, I would also be like, why didn't you tell me this before?
Yeah, that's true. That's also very true.
Now,
Also, I mean, being at a gravesite too,
like, I would expect mournful.
I could expect mournful, but also at the same time, like, I don't know if it might have been contributing to the fact that he was a millionaire and like how the guy might have viewed that, or
that's also true.
I don't know. But she did ask him if he could create something more happy, and the sculptor, wow, he is not a sculpture, he is a sculptor. He obliged. And so upon Where was I? So the sculptor reluctantly obliged, by the way, to fix or adjust the sculpture. He got to work and made a happier head. However, once he showed it to his client, she was happy. But Andrew was arrogant. He threw the new sculpted head to the floor, smashing it. He told the widow he would never add to his sculpture, and he never did. So it was left more mournful and more depressing.
That just...
A simple no would have sufficed.
Yeah, that also irritates me because one, it's a waste of materials. Two, this woman is still mourning the loss of her husband, and she paid you.
Yeah. So there's probably a lot of miscommunication, but the sculptor did seem very arrogant about it. And I think he just did it as like, yeah, I can and I could and I did, but we're not.
No, like,
so I don't know. It gives me an icky feeling.
Yeah, that's obnoxious.
So eventually, when Anne Thomas was entombed next to her husband in 1944, she would have lived to nearly 100 years old. Mourners passed the Bronze Lady she once insulted. Maybe it was the insult that led to the Bronze Lady's reputation for spookiness, as if she wanted to add injury to her insult. It could have been the somber look on her face or the threat of being caught in a graveyard at night that added a fright factor. But whatever the case, the Bronze Lady proved to be irresistible to local kids who would hang out in the cemetery at night back in the 60s to early 80s. Some of these stories allegedly say, if you hop on the Bronze Lady's lap, then jump down, spin around 3 times, and look at her, then you're cursed. Or if you hop up onto the Bronze Lady's lap and then go peek into the keyhole of the mausoleum door, you might just see a ghost. That is a lot.
I was going to say, why? First of all, who?
That is excessive.
Who got into this statue's lap, jumped off, and then ran around 3 times?
Like, what made you even think to even do that? Like, yes.
Are we doing the hokey pokey?
Right.
You put your left hand in, you put your left hand out, you take your left hand in, you shake it all about.
Like, yeah, I don't get how people figure this out. Like, you have to turn around 3 times.
Who was the first
person? 3
person?
seems to be the common number.
It's like an omen witchy number type. Yeah.
So that might be why. Another story states that if you touch the face, you'd invite a curse, or if you insulted the sad statue, you'd risk bad luck. If you knock on the general's mausoleum door, you'll have bad dreams that night. First of all, leave
him at rest.
Yeah, leave him at rest. And as many have said, she will also cry tears of blood.
See, this one, because that reminds me of Gracie, which we talked about last week. But the only thing that confuses me about this, and now we talked about this, but like, would there not be staining on the statues?
You would think so, yeah. And I also had brought up, it might be like, if it's not that, it could be like something that the presence or the spirit or whatever is making you hallucinate to see, because I know sometimes with the paranormal stuff that they can make you see things that aren't really there.
Yeah, and that would make sense. That makes a lot of sense for that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. But anyway, yeah, that's the Bronze Lady statue.
The audacity of that sculptor to just smash.
I know, how rude.
Like, you could have just not done it. Right, so I'm gonna go on with my first topic, which is going to be the Hope Diamond.
Okay.
So this is a diamond that has been around since the 17th century. When it was first found in the Collier mine in India, it was huge. And I want to say it was like 100 and something carats.
That's huge.
Like, it was a big, big rock. It is characterized as a blue diamond. Okay. And in its current state, it is 45.42 carats. So it's still pretty massive.
Yeah.
To give you an example of the size, it's been compared to a pigeon egg or a walnut that is pear-shaped. And, like, walnuts are, like, pretty hefty.
They're a pretty big size. Wow. Holy guacamole. I can't even imagine how big it was at the full size.
No, massive.
Because the walnut size is what it is now.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So its recorded origins started in 1666, which I do find mildly interesting because you take away the one.
That's suspicious.
That's weird. when a French merchant named Jean-Baptiste Taverner purchased it in its uncut form. After he cut it, he renamed it the French Blue and sold it to King Louis XIV in 1668.
And this diamond's like, it's blue?
It's blue. It is a blue diamond, yeah. It was stolen from King Louis XIV and then recut, and then it didn't appear again until 1839. So if you do the math, that is 171 years that this diamond just went and disappeared. Just went poof.
Where'd you go? What you doing?
Right.
He says, I'm going on vacation.
See y'all later. Its last known owner was the American jeweler Harry Winston, who bought it in 1949. And after touring with it for a few years, he donated it to the Smithsonian Museum, where you can still see it to this day.
Interesting.
Now, a fun little detail about this, and this still baffles me, is that this man mailed this diamond through the U.S. Postal Service, and he paid $2.44 for his postage. And it was only insured for $155.
That's insane to me.
Like this huge, huge diamond.
And when was this?
1949.
So, like, I know it would have been, that would be considered a little bit more, but also for, at that point, was it 45 carats
Yeah.
or was it bigger?
It was 45 carats.
That man is trusting that, or he did it to where postal service people and other people in general will be like, oh, it's just another typical piece of mail, and they won't think twice about it.
They won't mess with the
So
value.
that's either kind of dumb or very smart on his part.
A little bit of both, I think.
I think, yeah.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
So this diamond has been called cursed, and some reasons as to why it's called that way is in the due to the early stages of the French Revolution. On January 21st of 1793, King Louis XIV was guillotined. Marie Antoinette, who was his wife, was guillotined a few months later in October of that same year.
Yeah.
These beheadings were commonly cited as the diamonds cursed, although there was no record that Marie Antoinette ever actually wore the diamond,
Yeah.
since it was for her husband. Like, it was, I guess, in law that like he was the only one who could wear it.
Right.
The curse is supposedly to affect the owner or the wearers of the jewel and is said to bring misfortune and tragedy to those in possession, which would kind of make sense as to why Marie Antoinette got beheaded, because he was the wearer, she possessed the diamond.
Oh.
And then it
I was about to
disappears.
question. I was be like, so why did she get?
Yeah.
But that makes sense. Did they get beheaded at the same time?
She got beheaded months later.
Months later.
So he was beheaded.
Oh, so I guess so. Once he passed, she then was the
Got
one
it.
who. Oh, so that's why.
Because
she
he
did.
was beheaded in
Okay.
January and she wasn't beheaded until October.
Oh, so it's because it became in her possession. Okay, gotcha.
It also became widely popular to say that the original owner of the diamond, Jean, who we talked about earlier, was torn to pieces after stealing the diamond from a Hindu statue. Now, it does go on to say that he was torn to pieces by wolves. But other reports said he lived to 84. So
Yeah, I believe the 84.
yeah, especially since there's probably death records.
Yeah. Man, just imagine there being a story about you saying that you got torn apart by wolves. Be like, man, that's crazy.
Right? And you see it in the daily news.
Man gets torn
Local
apart by
jeweler
wolves.
gets torn apart by wolves. Could not be me.
That's crazy.
No.
That's weird.
One final thing I will say about this diamond is that the mailer who had the misfortune of delivering the diamond to the museum had a head injury shortly after because his truck had been in an accident.
Oh.
And then to add insult to injury, his house burned down.
Oh my God. Just from being the person to transport it, not even knowing that he was transporting it.
So
Yeah, that thing had to have been cursed.
as of now, like I said, it's in the Smithsonian. You can actually go view it still to this day.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most viewed exhibits.
Yeah. Yep. I think we said since it was in a case, it's probably...
Yeah, it's in a glass case. And that was one of the things that you and I talked about, was that a lot of items will wind up being put in some kind of protective case.
Yeah.
And that supposedly stops whatever is going on.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my goodness.
$2.44 for postage.
For postage. Jeez.
Why did I pick this up this way? I'm struggling.
It's pretty good hot chocolate though, huh?
Let it be known that Ashley makes a mean hot chocolate. Because this shit be fire.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
We would usually have coffee, but it is
Currently,
later.
later at night after work. So,
No coffee for us.
not today. Okay. So, I remember growing up, I'd love to give my dolls like little mini makeovers. You know, give them a little...
I was a haircut doll
Little
person.
little
My mom had
haircut.
to kit. She had all of the special edition Barbies.
Mm-hmm.
And one day when I was little, and I just remembered this story. I guess I had a friend over and we somehow managed, because my mom had them in this fishnet thing, or up on top. They were out of a child's reach.
Yeah.
but we managed to get them. We opened all of these boxes and just
You
ripped their heads
didn't?
off.
Oh my god.
And these are like special edition Barbies, like probably
Brutal,
were worth
man.
money at this point. And then one time I cut my hair, but they thought it was Barbie's hair, but it was my hair. So my hair was like...
That's definitely on par with oh my god.
Anyway, you can proceed with your story now. I just remembered that.
Sheesh.
I shoved it down in a cabinet too because I didn't want them to find it.
Oh my god. To be fair, I remember that I think my great grandma, she had gave me porcelain dolls, and I remember shoving them in the drawers of my dresser or my desk. I don't think they survived. I think they got broke. Nice little porcelain dolls. Also, and my mom will not let me live this one down, she had a Cabbage Patch doll. I feel like they're worth a little bit more. Ashley gave a little Cabbage Patch doll a makeover, but I drew on its face, and that wasn't coming off.
See, I had one of those, what was it, Doodle Bears?
Where you're supposed to draw on
and then
it.
you can just throw it in the washing machine.
Yeah, no. I wrecked the little Cabbage Patch doll.
R.I.P. Cabbage Patch doll.
Now, imagine if you had a doll that had to have its haircut.
No.
Yeah. Not just once. More than once. Like a routine haircut.
I don't even give myself a routine haircut. How am I going to take care of a doll's hair?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is the story of the Okiku, a Japanese doll. So if you're already afraid of dolls, this story just might feed into the fear a little bit further. It's not really sinister. It's just a little bit creepy.
Yeah.
So, according to the story of Okiku, the doll was purchased by a 17-year-old boy named Ikichi Suzuki. I think I'm pronouncing that right. During a visit to Sapporo for a marine exhibition in 1918. This doll would serve as a gift for his 2-year-old sister, Okiku, once he returned home from his travels. When the doll was originally purchased, it is said that she had a traditional hairstyle called the okappa, or otherwise known as a bob haircut. So fairly short haircut up above the shoulders. But that was a typical hairstyle for the Japanese style dolls.
Yeah.
So, Okiku adored her new doll, and it served as a companion to her for roughly about a year until Okiku unfortunately died suddenly from a cold-like illness at the age of 3. Very, very sad. After Okiku's death, her family put the doll on the household altar where they regularly prayed in memory of Okiku. After some time, the family began to notice the hair on the doll was appearing to grow, as if it would on a human head. Yeah.
No.
Imagine how quickly that hair was having to grow, though, for them to, like...
Notice.
Yeah. This led the family to believe that the restless spirit of their beloved daughter now resided in the doll she once loved. It's pretty sad. The doll remained with the Okiku's family until 1938, so about 20-ish years.
Yeah.
When they moved to... I looked up how to pronounce this, but I done forgot. Iwamizawa, Hokkaido, and they gave the doll to the Menenji Temple, where she remains a shrine to this day. If my spirit resided in a doll, and my family gave me away to a temple after 20 years of being with you, I'm coming back to haunt you.
I mean, I'm just saying, with all due respect, I love you, but if you're in a doll...
You giving me to a temple?
I'm giving you to a temple.
How rude. How rude.
Just kidding. You'd actually...
I mean, to be fair, I mean, at least they know she's going to get well taken care of. So I guess that's okay.
Honestly,
but I'd
low-key,
still be a little
on my bookshelf, to be completely real.
Yes,
But...
yes, with the home slice next to her. Do you
Oh,
for
my
those of you
troll,
watching?
yeah.
For those of you watching, I could be friends with the troll. Yeah, probably look exactly like that too.
Honestly, so he's made of tree. He's made of tree latex, so he's supposed to age and get like all brown and stuff. So it's kind of funny because he's known as a living doll.
Yeah. Oh, because his appearance changes over time. Yeah, he's a little creepy.
I love him.
He's a cute creepy. But yeah. Does he have a name? Does he have a name?
He did, but I don't know where the paperwork is.
Oh dang!
So he's little booty cheeks.
Oh my god.
We can name him right now.
And he's holding his tail.
What do you want to name him?
I don't. If you have any name suggestions,
Comment below.
Yes.
Or on Instagram.
Yeah,
or any
wherever.
of the places.
Just let us know. But yeah, I'd be chilling next to him. Be my little partner in crime over there. We'll totally not haunt your home.
That's fine. It's okay. I can ask you for assistance.
So, This is how the doll received the name Okiku, after her former owner. So some even believe that the hair growing from the doll is that of the young girl, which, like we had talked about before, I don't really see it as being uncommon, just because there is certain things that are made with human hair, like extensions and wigs and stuff like that. So I don't really see that it would not
been made.
However, like we know with dolls how like the hair just kind of pokes into the head a little
and
bit.
it's not very
but
deep.
It's not a follicle. It's not a scalp. So the fact that the hair's growing is still kind of
it does give me Chucky vibes, because the longer he's possessing the doll, the more human it becomes.
Yeah. Okay. So even though Chucky. So even though Kiku now resides inside the temple, her hair has continued to grow. Allegedly, her once cropped hairstyle nearly grew 10 inches all the way down to her knees during the beginning of her stay at the temple, and to this day requires trimming to stop it from growing out of control. I'm curious at how quickly it grows and like how often that they have to cut her hair.
Well, because like whenever I was looking for like pictures to, one, put in the podcast for anyone who's watching, and two, for a thumbnail, the picture I saw was her with long
I know.
hair.
So whenever I originally told you that her haircut, when the doll itself was purchased, her hair was in a bob.
Because like,
and the photo that we have,
it goes down to her arms, because she's a doll.
Yeah,
but like it's not
where it was
it's
at
like
the beginning.
10 inches.
Yeah, they said at the beginning of her stay at the temple, it grew 10 inches down to her knees,
which is insane.
It's even said that the priest entrusted in her hair trimming was visited in a dream by Okiku, asking him to keep her hair trimmed.
Well, that's nice.
That's nice that he, obliged and kept up with it. Also, allegedly, it is said that the temple refused to let researchers disassemble and analyze Okiku the doll, as they should.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be disassembled if I was a spirit doll.
Absolutely not. However, others claim that the temple allowed some of the trimmed hair to be tested, further being determined that the hair was indeed the hair of a real child. That's crazy. Also
crazy that they can determine that it was child's hair.
Yeah.
Rather than just like human
I don't know
hair.
what the difference between that would be. I don't know how they would determine that. Now, if that isn't creepy enough, it is said that some visitors believe her mouth is still slowly creeping open to reveal a set of tiny human teeth.
I forgot you said that.
Yeah. Yeah. Whether or not any of this is actually true, Okiku still continues to intrigue and frighten visitors at her shrine to this day with her personal twist on the forever eerie haunted doll trope.
I'm trying to imagine like her mouth slowly opening to just show teeth, like
just little bitty teeth. They'd probably be like the size of little kitty teeth.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
It's
very creepy. Very creepy.
It gives
me the hair wasn't enough. They had to add in
if the hair wasn't
teeth.
enough, you have to have teeth now.
Yeah. But that kind of goes back to the whole Chucky thing that you were talking about, that the longer that the
spirit possesses,
the spirit resides in the vessel,
the more human it becomes. Yeah.
That's creepy.
I got a lye burn underneath my nail.
Oh no.
You can kind of see. So my next. Why are you looking at me like that?
I didn't know I was looking at you in any way. I was just enjoying my.
All I saw was. But like
I'm excited.
From mug, all I saw was eyes. Like
I was excited.
Like,
I'm ready. Oh, okay.
I love you. Mm-hmm. It is really good hot chocolate. Like, it's amazing. I'm gonna need you to make this for me all the time. Send me the recipe on Pinterest.
Will do.
So the next topic I'm going to talk about is a painting called The Anguished Man.
This one creeps me out.
So this is a painting done by an artist who is supposedly unknown. Mm-hmm. It is said to be an oil painting that depicts a human, likely a self-portrait of the artist. You can see it from the clavicle up, and I will put a picture up for anyone who is watching.
It's a very creepy photo.
But for those of you who are not, to give you a kind of visualization, it's got a blue background. You can see it from the clavicle up, and it's a reddish orangish like human. The eyes are hollow black pits, and its mouth is gaping open, almost as if it was screaming or if it's gasping in pain.
He looks like someone burned.
Yeah.
His skin was
some people think that he was skinned or burned, and that's what it is depicting. Which, now that I'm actually thinking about it, because me and Chris have been watching Supernatural, and there's an episode where you kind of get to see like what goes on in hell and stuff like that, and I can envision like that being something going on.
Oh.
So like maybe it was like
Yeah.
a depicting of what it's like in hell or something.
Oh my gosh.
Because it is called the Anguished Man.
Oh.
Um,
It's kind of sad if you think about that.
oh, it absolutely is. But to make matters worse for this painting, it is supposedly mixed with blood.
Ooh, I forgot about that part.
The current owner, Sean Robinson, lives in England and claims that he inherited it from his grandmother. His grandmother told him that the artist created the painting and had his blood mixed in the paints, but soon after the completion of the art, he committed suicide. It is because of this that it is supposedly haunted. Now, Robinson started uploading YouTube videos back in 2010, which would give a little bit of history about the painting and his connection to it. He stated that his grandmother had stored it in an attic for 25 years before he finally got it due to it feeling evil.
Yeah.
His wife has been very adamant that she does not like this painting. And so when he inherited it, it went into the basement. And that's where it stayed until there was a flood that required it to be moved. Rather than putting it back in the basement when everything dried out, he decided to display it in the spare bedroom. And that's when things start to happen.
Yeah. I'm surprised they weren't happening before, to be honest.
Well, I'm wondering if it was covered up in the basement
Maybe.
because it was covered versus being on display, you know?
Well,
don't
because I
really
know a lot of the times with haunted items and stuff, the more you try to ignore it, the more it'll make itself known.
Sorry, I couldn't breathe for a second there.
Take a breath.
I know, right? Robinson claims that he heard crying and moaning noises in his house. He also claims that he once saw the shadow of the figure of the man. His dog would oftentimes refuse to go upstairs. Doors would shut on their own. But eventually, things progressed to physical interference.
Oh, no.
Sean's wife claimed that she felt someone get into their bed when Sean was not in the home at all.
Heck no. Nope. Nope.
Nope. Could not. No, I would not go back into that house. Apparently, a few years ago, there was a rumor floating around that the painting was actually up for sale on eBay, to which Robinson responded and said all other paintings appearing for sale which claim to be the Anguished Man are frauds. No one should buy those. I can guarantee you the original haunted painting is locked away in a secure location, and I have no intention of selling it. That could be dangerous and would be not wise for anyone to lay their hands on the painting because it's really active and strange things happen to people who are in the same room or even the same house.
Yeah.
In 2016, the rights were acquired to make a film based on this movie. Now, things have happened since then, and I believe the company who bought the rights actually no longer exists. So it's kind of up in limbo, but I think it was around the same time like the Conjuring universe came out.
Ooh, yeah.
So I think people were like,
More about that.
yeah, I think it was up in the time. And in 2021, Robinson collaborated with a paranormal investigation group for a 3-part series, which you can still watch. I believe it's on YouTube. His last written post was on Facebook in 2022, where he states that he still has the painting, he can't sleep at night, and he's having some medical problems, like he's now on blood thinners, and he's hoping that the painting doesn't cause him to have nosebleeds, but it's covered up.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing we know from him. Like, I checked the Facebook because it's just the Anguished Man. And there are no more posts from him. Now, there are reshares of stuff.
Yeah, just none from him.
Because, like, there's been a
specifically.
reshare where it made, like, top 5 haunted items around the world or something like that. And so
Yeah.
they'll reshare, like, articles, but there's been no actual posts.
Yeah. That makes me really curious as to, like, why, like, I understand why he hasn't sold it to just another typical individual because it can cause harm, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm curious as to why, if it's causing him that much decline in his health, why he hasn't given it to or sold it to a place that houses those type of
they
things.
could
typically.
easily give it to, you know, a religious, like they could give it to a church.
Yeah, somewhere that would keep it in a case, or, you know, like the diamond. Like, it could still be appreciated, but it would be kept in a case to where it can't cause harm to somebody. If something like that, and if I knew it was haunted and it was causing me that much pain and suffering and my health to decline, like, I'd have to get rid of it.
Well,
But
'cause,
I'm
like-
curious if it did the same thing too, because it was inherited, right?
Yeah, he had it from his grandmother,
I'm curious if it caused her to have that much.
and I couldn't find where the grandmother got it from, so I don't know how she came into possession of the item.
That or the thing liked grandmother's house and was just like, I want to
Was
stay in
offended
grandma's
that she was-
house.
yeah.
And then now it went to home slice, and now it's like, I don't like it here. Bring me back to grandma's. Yeah.
I want to go back to Grammy.
Yeah.
She got nice cookies.
Yeah. I mean, it's also kind of sad to think about what the painter was.
Yeah, whatever he was going through had to
through.
be something dark.
Yeah. To have put that much energy and
And himself, literally.
That's
into the
probably
painting.
why, because isn't that at that point it's like bloodbound or something? Like, what is that? Is that a thing?
It could be, yeah. Yeah, because I know a lot of like movies and stuff like that will have like blood connections and stuff.
Yeah.
So it very well could be that he's I don't want to say trapped, but like he put a
Yeah.
piece of himself in it.
In it. Yeah. So, I mean, I would assume anywhere it goes, he's going. He's
Yeah.
attached to it. Oof. Goodness me. Well, speaking of items in homes, imagine knowing that somewhere in your house, in the walls, is a skull.
Mm-mm.
No?
No,
You don't want skulls in your walls?
I mean, I want skulls that are fake. Is
Yeah,
this a real
but-
skull?
But no,
No, thank you.
very much real skull.
No.
But not just any skull. The skull of Burton Agnes Hall. This skull is yet another famous screaming skull. So, if for those of you who don't know, screaming skulls are human skulls that are said to speak, scream, and haunt their surroundings.
So like, not only is there a skull in my home, but I have to deal with it talking.
Yeah.
No.
That doesn't sound fun.
No. So the only skull that I like to deal with, and I can't even deal with it anymore, is a VR game called Waltz the Wizard, and he's a skull.
Oh my gosh.
You can throw him out the window.
Yes.
That's the best. I love him.
Oh my gosh.
You flip him off
He
and
would
he's
be
like, "That's
considered a
childish."
screaming skull. So, screaming skulls are part of a folklore that is most common in England and other English-speaking regions.
How interesting that my last guy was in England, and then this topic is about England.
Seems like a lot of stuff happens over in England.
I mean, it is an old place.
But I also kind of feel like you and I always end up choosing stuff that's very similar anyway, because I was going to choose a painting, but I decided not to. And what else?
The statues,
yeah, the
little
statues
Gracie, and then the bronze statue.
we're connected. So, what?
What?
So Burton Agnes Hall is an impressive Tudor. You told me how to
Tutor,
like a tutor.
like a tutor.
Okay. Burton Agnes Hall is an impressive Tudor mansion and stately home near Dryfield in the East Riding of Yorkshire. The exact whereabouts of her skull in the hall is still unknown, considering it was bricked up and forgotten about more than 300 years ago. I think I have that right, because now thinking about it, I think I mathed wrong, but I'm not sure. We'll go with that.
I mean, more than 300 years ago is probably more than 300 years ago at this point.
Yeah. It was a long time ago.
When eternity later.
Yes, for sure. So the story goes, 3 sisters and their family were building the hall in the reign of Queen Elizabeth. Before they managed to complete the building, the youngest of the 3 sisters was attacked and mortally wounded by a cutthroat injury while walking through a park.
Mm-hmm.
So, unfortunately, she quickly fell into a fever and died. However, before she passed away, she beseeched her sisters to preserve her head within the house after her death. I would never ask that. However, she was very, very excited about this house. It is said that she spoke, breathed, ate, slept, everything about this house. She was so excited to move into this brand new house. And so even after death, she wanted to be a part of that house because she never really got to experience living inside the house.
Right.
Yep. Should they fail to carry out this task, she swore to return from the grave and make the house uninhabitable. Big words. After her death, her sisters felt like they could not conquer with such a gruesome task, feeling that the request was merely the rambling of a dying mind. Unfortunately, her 2 sisters did not fulfill their promise and had her body interred in the family vault. I mean, I wouldn't want to remove
Yeah, no, I would not be
the
cutting
head of
anybody's
a
head off.
family member. No, nor would I ask anybody to do that for me. No.
But I want your screaming skull just displayed in my house.
Or I can haunt a doll and reside on your bookshelf.
You
We'll,
can
we'll do that.
Your head could reside on
I'm
my
going to make
bookshelf.
you have to cut my hair all the time, though.
No, I'm not going to do it. Actually, you know what? I will, because I'm going to bleach the fuck out of it.
Rude.
Give you all
At
the
least
fun
give
colors.
me some fun colors. Yes, okay, cool. We're on the same page. So once the hall was finished and the sisters moved, and they quickly began to be plagued by strange moaning and weird sounds until they couldn't stand it anymore and had their sister's skull disinterred. Upon opening the casket, their sister's skull had already been detached from the body and was fleshless. So it seems to me the sister was like, that's right. You're coming
Like
back
she
to get
knew.
me. I was doing all this for you guys to come out and grab my skull, like I told you to do in the first place, and did the job for you, pretty much. So after it was placed in the hall, and all was well. This is until a servant who disbelieved in the story removed the skull, wrapped it in cloth, and threw it on the back of a wagon with horses. The horses then began to rear and tremble in fear.
You rhymed.
I rhymed. The halls shook, and the pictures fell off the wall until the skull was replaced.
The audacity of anyone
Yeah.
to take the family's possession out. Like,
that doesn't, yeah, no. That
No
doesn't-
one
just
had the
because you
right.
disbelieve in it doesn't give them the right to do
no,
that.
you can just disbelieve at a distance.
Yeah. Or just not work there.
That too,
Whatever
yeah.
works. I don't know if that was an option, but I
I
don't know.
mean, I'm sure they don't work there. Didn't work there after that.
Probably not. I would be like, you gone.
Yeah.
Don't take my stuff. The skull was placed in a niche in the wall and eventually walled up. The actual origin of the skull is unknown, but the hall was built for Sir Henry Griffith in the 16th century and not for the three sisters, who might have been Sir Henry's three daughters. So there's still a lot of
Like up in
facts
the
about it
air.
that they don't know, because, I mean, it was
Long time ago.
16th century.
I know a lot of like adultery was going on, and then they would lie about it or hide
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah. I don't know, because it was said that the sisters were building it, but then it was said that the dad was building it, and the three sisters were going to be moving in with the family, and I don't know. But it's difficult to be certain whether the skull actually belongs to Anne Griffith, as tradition asserts. The alleged spirit of Anne was also thought to haunt the hall and was known as a Ode Nonce. She is still said to appear on the anniversary of her death, though. So, yeah. That was the first time I had ever heard of screaming skulls. I did not know that those were a thing. And that's kind of freaky.
I couldn't imagine. I still can't get over the servant having the audacity to take it.
To take the skull. Yeah, me neither. I don't understand.
Like, that is, who are you?
Who are you? How dare you?
Ronald Weasley, how dare you steal that skull? I'm sorry. That just,
You had to. You had to.
it just popped into my head, and it had to happen. So my last topic is along the same lines of your Okiku doll. It's a doll, but it is Annabelle.
Infamous
Annabelle. So everyone has likely heard of Annabelle. There is a whole movie series that revolves around her. Shout out to The Conjuring and the Annabelle series, because I happen to love them, as cheesy as they are. But the thing is Raggedy Ann, Annabelle, is just no ordinary doll. She's not just a spirit. So Annabelle can be seen in Ed and Lorraine's, well, now it's closed, but it used to be in their museum.
Okay.
AKA their basement, which is why it's closed, because it was a zoning issue.
Yeah.
But according to the Warrens, a student named Donna, who was a nurse, was given the doll in 1970. She said that the doll would behave strangely, it would move around the apartment, and it would leave little notes saying, "Help me."
Oh.
Donna and Angie, which was her roommate, bring a psychic medium in who tell them that the doll was inhabited by a deceased 7-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins. Supposedly, the girl's body was found years before the site that their apartment was built on.
So okay.
So the doll was, the spirit was supposedly in that same vicinity of their apartment,
Okay.
and then went into the doll.
Gotcha.
The spirit then asked the girls through the medium if she could stay. They agreed, and they tried to accept and nurture the spirit, feeling bad that it was a 7-year-old girl. Yeah, no, could not be me. But this is where things get sticky. Lou, which was a friend of Donna's and Angie's boyfriend at the time, was over and awoke one night from a deep sleep in a panic. He's had a reoccurring bad dream, only this time, somehow he feels like it's different. I lost my brain for a second.
It's been a long day.
It was as though he was awake, but he couldn't move. He looked around the room and he couldn't see anything out of the ordinary, but then it happened. Looking down towards his feet, he saw the doll. It began to slowly glide up his leg, move over to his chest, and then it stopped. Within seconds, it was strangling him.
Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. No.
Paralyzed and gasping for air, Lou, at the point of asphyxiation, blacked out. When he awoke the next morning, he was certain that this was not a dream. Lou was determined to rid himself and the girls of this doll for good.
Yes, they should.
But he has one more experience with Annabelle.
Oh, God.
There's a day that him and Angie are planning a road trip, so they're going through maps and looking at everything in her room. Everything is relatively silent, but then all of a sudden he starts to hear this rustling in the living room. So thinking it's burglars, he goes to check it out and make sure everything's okay. When he goes into the living room, he can't see anything out of the ordinary, and all that there was in the room was Annabelle, laying face down. When he went to go pick her up, he suddenly got a huge chest pain. He had bloody claw marks over his chest, and it was apparently so violent that the girls then decide to seek out help. But a fun fact...
Not when he's getting strangled in the middle of the night?
A fact, I won't say fun fact, but a fact about this is the claw marks were gone in a few days.
Wow.
Yeah. So when the Warrens arrived, they quickly discovered that the spirit had lied to the medium. This was not a 7-year-old girl, but a demon.
Knew it.
The demon wanted to stay with the girls so that it could later possess them.
Who would have known?
Right. They, along with Father Cook, perform a recitation of an exorcism. This is a 7-page blessing that essentially fills the home with positive energy and God. So this is not going to expel the evil entity from the doll, just expel it from the home.
From the home. Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense, because if it expels from the doll, it's going to find something else to go into.
Right. Where's it going to go?
Where it's trapped in the doll still, but now not allowed back in the home.
The demonologist then take the doll back to their home.
Okay.
According to them, once the doll was sat near Ed's desk, it would levitate, or it would move upstairs into one of his rocking chairs. Yeah. Just randomly, poof, I'm over here. No. Poof, I'm over here.
No.
It had a disdain for clergymen, and on one account, Father Jason Bradford had insulted the doll and its abilities. Lorraine pleaded with him to go home with extra caution and to call them later when he was safe. A few hours later, he does call, and he says that his brakes had failed in a busy intersection, and he was involved in a near-fatal accident.
That's why you don't taunt
anything
like that. It's powerful. Those things are powerful.
Mm-hmm. You never know.
No.
You just never know what's really going to happen. Mm-mm. So the Warrens at this point have a special case built just for Annabelle, where she is put inside in the occult museum. This case has a tarot card on it and a sign that says positively do not open.
Mm-hmm.
Since
what was the tarot card?
The devil.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Since Annabelle has been in this case, it has no longer appeared to move, although it is thought that she is responsible for the death of a young man who came to the museum on a motorcycle with his girlfriend. And I found more of the story, but I had to go on to the Warrens' website, which is since closed, but you can find it by going to a website called the Wayback Machine, and it's got all the old stuff,
We should look at it for MySpace and stuff.
Oh yeah, all the you can get MySpace. You could find the original Facebook layouts and stuff like that. Oh
my gosh, that'd be so cool to go back and look at.
All the old school stuff. I bet you we could probably get on Cartoon Network's old website and play the games.
Probably. Wait. So it's not just screenshots of it. It's active pages?
Active pages. So according to the Warrens' website, this man went up to and began to bang on the case, insulting the doll, saying that if it could put scratches on people, then it should put scratches on him. Ed then makes the couple leave because, duh.
Yeah.
You're not going to, first of all, you don't know what powers you're playing with. Second of all, you're in somebody else's home. You're putting a fool. You're putting them at risk. You're putting yourself at risk. Even if you don't believe, you should still have some common sense and some common decency.
Yeah, for sure.
On the way home, the young man and his girlfriend were laughing and making fun about the doll, and he loses control of his motorcycle. He then hits a tree. The young man is killed instantly, but his girlfriend survived and was hospitalized for a little over a year. When asked what happened, the young girl explained that they were laughing about the doll when they lost control. Ed warns you to not challenge evil and that no man is more powerful than Satan. And that little snippet was on their website.
Yeah.
So I also found something that was kind of intriguing. There is what they've dubbed Warrenology, where you can go through and you can see all these artifacts and stuff, but you could have lunch with Annabelle.
No.
And this is hosted by the New England Society for Paranormal Research.
As much as I think that would be cool,
I'm not
I
eating
would be
lunch anywhere near.
absolutely terrified to be in the same vicinity
Yeah,
as the Annabelle doll.
I'm all for going to haunted places. I draw the line at Annabelle.
Yeah. I also find it very intriguing, too, that when people think of Annabelle, I would not have thought about a Raggedy Ann doll.
No, because in the movies, she's a porcelain doll.
Yeah, she looks scary.
Yeah,
Like
and they did
something
that.
from Chucky.
They did that on purpose because they didn't feel that the Raggedy Ann doll was as intimidating.
But I find that the fact that she is in a doll that looks so innocent makes it scarier.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, that's why I feel like a lot of negative entities they'll target seemingly innocent things.
Oh,
they'll
yeah.
say that they're kids. So they'll say that they're
Make
this
you believe
harmless
them.
things to make people believe them, to make them feel a little bit less on edge about whatever is going on, to
Yeah.
feel sad and guilty for them.
Yeah.
To then let them into
To
their
lure
home
them.
and into their lives.
Yeah, no.
When it's crazy because we almost were into the universe of Annabelle when we went to the Conjuring. Well, we almost went to the Conjuring house.
Yeah.
We were close. We almost did it.
We were like looking up stuff to book and to do overnight tours and investigations and stuff like
Like
that.
we were about to, but we didn't.
Not right now, anyway, in
No.
the state that it's in, but not physical state, but like everything that's going on with the house.
We can always do the Lizzie Borden house if we want to.
I think that'd be pretty cool. I think that'd be pretty cool.
For now, we're just going to stick with the Crescent, though, because that's happening.
That will be eventually an episode where we go and we, hopefully this year, should be this year, where we go and
Investigate the Crescent Hotel,
stay at the Crescent Hotel,
which was talked about in our second episode. Which was talked about in our second episode. So.
Yeah.
But
All the fun things.
I'm really excited for that because I've never stayed in the hotel, so I'm really, really excited.
Me too.
Plus, I can't say we've never had girls trips because we have had girls trips. Every main trip is girls trip.
Yeah.
But we need like a local girls trip.
Yeah. Agreed. And what better way to do that than a spooky hotel?
Honestly, I mean, listen.
Spooky, beautiful hotel.
But I think that wraps up
Yeah.
episode 3. And our next episode 4, is going to be scary Reddit stories.
Yes.
So that one I'm really excited for as well.
Me too.
Thank you for watching.
Yep. Listening, doing all the things. Comment, like, subscribe.
Send us any scary stories you may have.
Please.
Any
please,
haunted
please, please.
objects you may have encountered.
Yeah. Any stories. We would love to start doing some listener stories and do some listener story episodes or just any of them that pertain to what we're talking about.
topic
that
at
day.
hand.
Yeah. For
But,
sure.
Until next time.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.